Hello everybody and welcome back to Newegg TV. I'm Steve and today I have a special guest in our studio from MSI. Everybody, I want you to say hi again to David. David, how you doing?
Hi Steve, nice to see you again.
Nice seeing you as well, sir. And you guys probably already know this, but Haswell E has just launched the brand new CPU lineup from Intel, and we're very excited about that. And I can't tell you about anything else other than the X99 boards that are right in front of me at this exact moment, because we will have a video later about Haswell E. So stay tuned for that on our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Newegg, in case you see this on Newegg.com and don't know what our YouTube channel is. Aside from that, David, why don't you get started telling us a little bit about your new X99 lineup?
Well, Steve, as you just mentioned, the Haswell E has launched, and with that comes the launch of our new X99 boards. Cool. What MSI has done has launched 5 total motherboards for our X99S series. Okay. Total, we have under our overclocking category is the 2 boards, the X99S X-Power AC and the X99S M-Power. In our motherboard, in our gaming category, we have the X99S Gaming 9 AC and the X99S Gaming 7, which we have here on display today. Also, in our Pro series, we have the X99S SLI Plus, which your viewers might see a little differences, because before our Pro series had the blue trim, but this time we've actually gone into a full matte black. So the color schemes have changed a little bit, but the categories are all still the same.
Excellent.
Right.
I kind of want to know across the line, I'm assuming that there are probably some features that they all share.
Right.
Can you kind of speak to that?
Sure. Well, before we get into the details of each line and each board and all the new features of that, there are features that actually go across the board for all our X99S motherboards. First of all is the introduction of DDR4, which is actually going to give you a higher memory speed and
faster throughput.
Faster throughput in general, yes. Also, introducing across all the lines of our X99S is the introduction of what we call the Turbo M.2. Now this is a newer version of the M.2, which runs on a PCIe Gen 3 by 4 connectivity, giving you up to 32 gigabytes per second of speed.
Okay. So you lined it up with X4 Gen 3? Nice.
Yes, we do. All across the board.
All right. And what else you guys did?
Also, you might notice the X99S in the title for all of our motherboards. X actually stands for SATA Express, which is actually now available on all of our X99 motherboards. That can give you speeds of up to 10 gigabytes per second, which I think the user would really appreciate.
Okay, excellent. All right, David, why don't we just start off with the OC series then?
Absolutely. Well, Steve, what I've done here today is I've brought a sample of our X99S overclocking series motherboard. Okay. Now this here is the big daddy. This is the X99X X-Power AC. Now what this is an EATX size overclocking motherboard. Okay. So it's a little bit wider than your standard ATX, and it has what I mentioned before, the same features that go across all of our X99 motherboards, including the DDR4 memory, the Turbo M.2, and the SATA Express. New on this series is something we call the Direct USB. Now what this is more of a convenience for the enthusiasts and overclockers out there. Okay. It is a front face mounted USB port, which allows for users to easily plug into flash their BIOS, maybe test out some hardware, or save game data or anything like that. All can be done before it's even mounted into your PC box.
Okay, so if you were doing it, just running it outside of a standard case because you're doing a lot of testing, it just easier access to it.
Easier access, yes. Okay. Purely convenience.
Okay.
And we think the users out there would really appreciate that. Nice. Also, we have now when you're overclocking and you're trying to mount, like you're using liquid nitrogen or something like that, and you want to mount an LN2 pot, that can be a real pain, especially getting it mounted on the back. So what we have new with this X99 series is what we call the OC backplate. Okay. The OC backplate is actually a flat plate that goes on the back of the motherboard and helps you mount your LN2 pot directly, very securely, with a flat back.
Yeah. Okay. That's using the LGA 2011 revision 3 backplate that already comes with it, or replacing it? Because I'm not.
It's actually replacing it. It is a new small backplate, flat backplate that goes on there.
It's supposed to help you when you're attaching your pot, because it's much bigger, heavier than a standard.
Right. It gives you more stability, because that's one of those things you want to be easy to put in, and you want it to be stable.
Okay.
You don't want that liquid nitrogen spilling out anywhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
On the other side, we have something called the dilid die guard. Now, this is if you want to take your lid off of your CPU and it exposed. You know, that could be a little dangerous. You want to be as protective as possible.
Right.
So what this does is a little guard that goes over it that both protects it and also provides the perfect amount of pressure to putting the CPU on the motherboard.
Okay, so basically it's protecting the cores of the CPU because that lid, that heat spreader being removed is obviously exposing the cores directly to whatever it is you're attaching to it.
Exactly.
So it just allows it, whatever you end up putting onto it, in this case probably a LN2 pot or something like that, and basically allowing it to seat securely and firmly and safely on top of that.
Exactly.
Okay.
Now, the AC in the name of this board, it actually stands for the wireless capabilities, and this X99S X-Power AC is running an Intel Wi-Fi AC module. Okay. Also new is the ability for this motherboard to run a 4-way multi-GPU. This motherboard is NVIDIA SLI approved, compliant, and also AMD Crossfire compliant.
Excellent. Okay. So everybody out there that wants to take advantage of the 40 lanes, depending on the CPU you get, or possibly even the 28 lanes, you can get at least 3-way with the 28 lanes. Right. I'm assuming based on the way that you've wired it up. But yeah, that's fantastic. So anybody out there that's looking to do 4-way, this is probably a great overclocking choice that could utilize that.
Exactly. Okay. Now I want to mention to your viewers that today I have brought the X-Power out, which is an EATX size motherboard. But also available, which unfortunately I was not able to bring today, we have the X99S M-Power, which is a standard ATX overclocking motherboard. A lot of the features run through are almost exactly the same, except obviously the form factor is a little bit smaller. There's fewer phases on there, and there's no wireless on the M-Power. But just to let you guys know that there is that option out there available.
All right, David, so everything hunky-dory about the overclocking. Overclocking is awesome, but honestly, man, I'm more interested in the gaming boards. Can we just jump right into that?
All right, well, I'm not surprised because the gaming motherboards actually are bestseller and by far our most popular lineup of the motherboards. Well, what I've brought today is the X99S Gaming 7. This is a standard ATX gaming motherboard, and it actually, as well as the other X99s, has the DDR4 memory, our Turbo M.2, and the SATA Express. But in addition to that, what's really been beefed up on these X99S gaming motherboards is the audio portions, just to enhance the whole audio side experience of gaming. Namely, it's the feature suite known as Audio Boost 2. Okay. Audio Boost 2 is a feature suite that includes many different things. First of all, there's an isolated audio PCB, which simply means that the audio portion of this motherboard is actually separated from the rest of the PCB to help with interference or any kind of crosstalk or anything like that. Okay. Then we have the direct audio power, which actually, if you look down the bottom, there's a little slot there for a little dongle that actually connects directly to the power supply, powering this USB slot up here. Now, this gives you a consistent 5 volts of power that actually is not shared with any of the rest of the motherboard to give you nice, clear, pure power, and thus equaling sound.
Excellent. So yeah, if you plug in your DAC or something like that, you don't have to worry about it if it's not externally powered already, and it's going to get power from the USB. That's just your way of ensuring that it has the most clear reception possible for all of your audio. Okay, that makes sense.
This Gaming 7 utilizes the Creative Sound Sound Blaster Cinema 2. It also has EMI shielding to protect against any kind of electromagnetic interference. Okay. Amp-wise, we're using dual amps instead of just one. Okay. Down on the cap side, those are actually Nichicon audio capacitors. These golden caps down here, which are actually specifically designed for audio purposes, as opposed to before when you have just standard audio caps. Over here on the I/O side, you notice that they are all golden audio connectors, bringing about the purest sound quality possible. Now, also on this Gaming 7 is what we call our gaming app. Gaming app is something that the gamer and user can go into the BIOS and adjust the overclocking levels of the motherboard. Okay. When you get in there, you have 3 choices. You could either do the max setting, which is called the OC overclock setting. You can do the mid-range setting, which is entitled gaming setting, or the lowest for the lowest power consumption, which is just called the silent mode.
And probably also less sound too, obviously, being that it's silent. Right. So going with the maximum, you're going to have to deal with a little bit more audio noise in the background, but get maximum performance. Excellent.
Back again on this Gaming 7 is the MSI's killer e-networking. What this does is actually it is able to identify the traffic. When the traffic's coming into the motherboard, it's able to identify the gaming traffic versus all the other traffic. And it will prioritize the gaming traffic over the rest to give you faster, smoother gameplay.
Excellent. Yeah, so basically, those of you who don't know out there anything about killer networks chips, but yes, basically they're going to help prioritize packets so that if you're gaming, and obviously a lot of you, if you're going to pick up the gaming board, are going to want to game with it, it's going to allow you to prioritize those packets so that you get the best possible gameplay while maybe still downloading items as well, or stuff, whatever you guys like to download. You know what you like to download. I don't need to bring it up. But I mean, that's the 7, right?
Right.
The 9, I know physically we don't have. But there's a feature in there I really like. But can you just speak to maybe a couple of differences between the 9 and the 7?
Okay. Well, the Gaming 9 and the Gaming 7 are both still standard ATX gaming motherboards with a couple of slight differences. Most notably is what we call the streaming engine. Now, this is something new that MSI is introducing, specific with this X99S series. The streaming engine is actually an on-board, basically streaming studio, if you will. It actually is a H264 encoder, allowing you to stream out at 1080p at 30 frames per second. And it has a maximum bit rate of 60 megabytes per second.
Megabits per second?
Yeah.
Nice. That's awesome. So that's actually the thing I'm most interested in about this board. Because, I mean, first and foremost, it's an encoding chip. I mean, it's hardware that you guys have implemented on that board that's separate from the CPU, separate from the GPU. So I'm really interested to see how well that performs, and if it's implementing, you know, XSplit or OBS, or if they will implement it, as well as is it going to be something that's just going to be proprietary software? I mean, we're going to find out more about
there's
this
a lot
later,
about. I mean, we could do an entire episode on that. Maybe we will.
Yeah, maybe we'll do a separate video on something like that then.
Okay.
David, that leaves us with the final of the 3 different segmented sections of your X99S. This is the SLI Plus, is that right?
Yes. For our final segment here, this is our Pro Series section. We only have one Lone Ranger here. It is the X99S SLI Plus.
Dressed in all black.
All black, which so your viewers might seem as a little bit different because usually our Pro Series boards are identifiable by their blue trim. For the X99S series, we decided to put this in an entirely flat black matte color.
It's very slimming.
It's very slim. Yes, black is very slimming, and we're actually really excited to see what some of the those modders and people come up with with this flat black color scheme. But this motherboard is actually more geared towards your heavy-duty usage, like your workstation type applications, your embedded systems, server type applications, because this actually, along with the X99S chipset, is actually fully compatible with the Intel Xeon processors.
Lineup. So you could basically just drop a Xeon processor in as long as it was LGA 2011 revision 3 compatible. Okay.
Right. Now, feature-wise on the board, this being more of a kind of like a workhorse board. A lot of the features here are geared towards protection and prolonging the life of the motherboard.
Because if you're going to buy it for your employees, you want to make sure it's going to last as long as humanly possible.
Exactly, right. Okay. Most notably is a feature suite that we have called the Guard Pro feature suite. Guard Pro is a bunch of little features that actually act as specifically just to protect different aspects of the board and thus ultimately making it last longer. Okay. Features on the Guard Pro feature suite include things like circuit protection, which protects against short-circuiting and overvolting and things like that. Eco Power. Eco Power is an interesting one. When certain sections of the motherboard are not actually being used, the Eco Power will identify that and actually power them down. Okay. So you're going to be using less power consumption and just make it more kind of eco-friendly. Okay. I think. Right.
That works.
Humidity protection is actually on here. The PCB is actually coated with a special material to help it fight against environments a little too wet, too humid.
High humidity areas that they'll be employed.
It also protects against, on the opposite end, too high temperature. If the environment is too hot or things might possibly get damaged, there's protection against that as well. Electrostatic discharge protection protects against that as well as electromagnetic interference protection. There's EMI protection in the Guard Pro suite as well. Okay. Those pretty much make up the Guard Pro feature suites of protective features. There's also the Military Class 4. All the components on this board are actually Military Class 4 certified, and all that really means is they've gone through like a 24-hour rigorous burn-in test.
They've gone through boot camp.
They've gone through boot camp.
Yes.
Exactly.
They've been yelled at directly by the drill sergeant.
Yeah. Okay. So you're getting top-notch Military Class 4 components all across the motherboard.
Right. Just making sure that it's ran through the rigorous 24-hour or 48-hour. I'm not sure what Class 4 actually represents, but whatever it is, just make sure it withstands that burn-in period. So that by the time it gets to you at your home, it's gone through everything that can possibly cause it to fail right off the bat. So they know whether or not it's going to be able to withstand all the stuff you're going to do to it.
Right.
Yeah.
And finally, we also have a new feature, it's called the CPU overcurrent protection. Okay. And all this basically does is it just helps protect the hardware in case there's like a short circuit or something like that. Okay. And that's, so as you can see, the focus of the features for this SLI Plus is all about protection, longevity, long-lasting, reliability, things like that, because this is designed to be that workhorse.
That's awesome. All right. Well, hey, David, thanks so much for taking the time to step in with us.
Thanks for having me again.
Talk to us about the whole X99 lineup that MSI has out. This looks really interesting. So thank you again. Thank you guys also for watching. Don't forget, if you like videos just like this one, to stop on by our YouTube channel, which is at youtube.com/Newegg. And until then, we will see you guys very soon.